I'm going to do a little no hype.
Okay, you do your thing.
Do I get to do what I want?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, is this a call? Okay.
Hey, this is Kyle from No Hype Beer Reviews, and you're listening to the Bearded Hops Podcast.
Hey, pass me a beer.
Look, at least promise me you won't drink. Alcohol always leads to trouble.
Hey, who wants to play Drink the Beer?
Right here.
You win!
All right, what do I win?
Another beer!
Just have a cup of coffee.
Beer it is.
Coffee?
Beer.
I'd kill for a beer.
Cheap beer and a sympathetic ear. Step right up.
All right. Hey, everybody. Thank you for joining us. This is the Bearded Hops Podcast. And let me get this off the screen because I'm still getting used to this. There we go.
Hey,
here we
there
go.
we all are.
I, of course, am Adam. And in the same room, all of us tonight, Chad and Jake. And so it smells hideous.
And we can reach out and touch each other. if we
Please don't
want to.
touch me.
Family
Please
is
don't.
all together.
Yes. Chad, do what you normally
Yeah,
do.
good evening, everybody. Special guest with us tonight from AfroBeerChick.com is Chalonda.
Hi.
How you doing tonight?
Great yourself.
I'm glad I said your name right. Otherwise, you were not going to respond, right?
Not
Probably
responding.
not.
You must have lost connection.
Right. Your mic isn't working. What's happening?
Oh.
So how you doing tonight?
You must have
I'm
lost
doing great. How about yourself?
Your mic isn't.
Yeah.
There we go. Sorry. Double. You're fine. You're fine. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Just, I'm clicking. It happens.
Stop touching
What
buttons.
is going on?
But it's my job over here.
All right, are we
I'm
really
fine.
ready this
I'm
time?
fine. Barely, but I'm fine. We're doing fine. Go ahead. Go about yourself. I'm not here.
All right. Well, Chalonda, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Great to have you here tonight. We are excited to get a female perspective on the craft beer industry. You are our first, other than Adam's wife, Gina, who's been on the show with us a few times.
Rod J. Beer Ventures said, "Cheers, a semicolon, exclamation," but then he corrected it in the next one. So, cheers.
Hey, Rod.
Yeah, Rod's going to be on with us next week.
I like to bear the
I was
first
on
one.
this last week.
I know. I saw that. Yes, I saw you were on there last week. So we're just swapping everybody around. Everybody else go around. Right? Were you done, Chad?
Well, I think
I wasn't
so.
paying attention, so I have no idea what you.
I was saying that we're excited to have our first female guest on
Oh,
the show.
there we
I think
go.
it's- I think
Besides
it's-
my wife.
Awesome.
Yes, besides Gina.
Besides my wife.
being on every once in a while. But
Now, as we do, what's everybody drinking?
yep, let's start with the beer.
Since we're all drinking the same thing, we'll let our guests go first.
Yes. What do you
I am drinking Maplewood
Oh man,
Fat Pug.
I saw that today.
yeah.
Yes, I've had that a while ago, but I saw it today at the store.
That's a cool can too.
Maplewood's a place we need to hit up, but
Yeah, it's a really nice place.
Where is Maplewood? Since I'm
I
not
believe that is considered to be Avondale.
okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Adam, don't you and Gina know somebody or something? You're gonna get like a tour. going down?
Maplewood. Gina's coworker's husband's friend is a brewer there. It's like 15 degrees of Kevin Bacon. I don't know. We are drinking Veneration Single Barrel from Three Sheeps up in Sheboygan. This one was apparently made just for Woodman's, so I don't know. It has zero information on it as far as ABV or ABU or anything like that.
You know,
So
we can add this beer to Untapped.
It's on Untapped, but
Oh,
when
it
you
is?
look
I
it up,
say it's
it all
110%
says
ABV. That's
it's all Mysterioso. It just says information not available when you look at ABV.
Yeah.
Untapped has failed us once
Yeah.
again. What are you gonna do?
My taste buds are telling me though that this is more alcoholic than than how they butchered Veneration
Nah,
this
I
year.
think it's just your brain.
Yeah, maybe it's just a different bottle.
I think
Yeah.
it's higher than because they brought it down to 10, right?
They took it from I want to say a
It was 13
13
down
to
to
a 9.
yeah,
like a
that was right around
9.7.
10. But yeah, this tastes
niner?
like it's a little more potent.
So when Chad got here today, he actually texted me and said, "Hey, I'm running up to Antioch Liquors. You want to come with me?" I get in the truck and I'm like, "We're going to Antioch, what are we going to Antioch Liquors for?" He goes, "I'm looking for Four Loco."
Oh,
He's looking for the Four Loco hard
I was gonna
seltzer they
ask if
just
you knew what
announced as
this
a
was.
14% ABV hard seltzer.
They got half an hour.
Now, when I was there, I asked the guy. I said, "Look, I'm a little
He
bit
almost laughed at you.
I'm a little embarrassed to ask this, but do you have Four Loko yet?" And he did kind of chuckle, and it's not out yet. But I'm so curious as to what a 14%
Hard
ABV
seltzer?
hard seltzer, because they all taste like
Did
shit
they
to me.
confirm that they'll be getting some?
No, he said they probably won't get any.
Probably
And,
wouldn't get it.
but I did read today that because of all the hoopla around it, they've decided to move up the release date. It was supposed to be in first quarter of next year, and now they're doing the fourth quarter this year. So ride the hype.
Nice winter drink.
Yeah, a nice winter drink that's meant for drinking in the hot sun.
Yeah.
Makes
All right.
Oh, wow.
Well, should we get the
Rod J
Our
says
guest-
seltzer has officially jumped the shark. I would agree with you,
yes.
can we get our guest take on
None.
hard seltzer? Because every day I'm seeing a new article
Well,
about
why
the
don't
Rod.
we-
No hype is here too, by the way.
Are we
Hip-
jumping
Why
in?
don't we learn a little bit about
All
her
right,
first, and then we can talk
Oh,
hard
so I need
seltzers.
to
And
jump
Well, I didn't bring
around.
up the
Is this- Will you
stories.
guys stop arguing? Can we all just get
The
along?
summer of hard
Can we
seltzer
get
around here.
along here? We're just friends.
I'm just gonna drink. I'm
Yeah,
just
Hey, that's right. That's what I'm about to do too. Let these two just fight it out. Like an old married couple over here. I wanna.
It's like the summer story as far as, you know.
I don't
It is.
care if you like it or not.
I did. The one you were asking for yesterday.
You know what? You're like my wife when you get in space. You just get lost.
Remember that one?
Well,
I don't know.
I just think it's funny because
John Gruden. I have no idea.
Yeah, he's been on Hard Knocks, and
his
he
wife
just
probably
cracks
divorced
me
him.
up.
Yeah.
All right, are we gonna actually do the show? Or we're just gonna sit here and treat it like we did last night. We're just talking.
No, let's do the show.
Okay, cool. Go ahead, Chad. It's all you. It's your show. I'm just here.
All right. Well, okay. So, Chalonda, just tell us a little bit about yourself, if you don't mind. Where you're from, and then kind of just tell us how you got into craft beer in 2009.
Okay. I'm from Chicago, and I got into beer. My first craft beer was in like 2009. So I was introduced. My first craft beer was Sophie by Goose Island.
Oh yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
And and that is a really good first time beer because I was not ready for the flavor, the citrus that it gave. I'm like, this isn't beer. So from there, it's like I started tasting the beer taste. When I first started, I only liked the Belgians, didn't like anything else, and then over time, my palate started to change. I wanted to find more other women in beer as well, because I was like, I can't be the only one that actually like beer.
Right.
So I came across Girls Paint Out, and I was like, hey, you guys have chapters in all these other cities. Do you have one in Chicago? And it was like, no, we don't. So I was able to be the founding member of Chicago Girls Paint Out. Did that for a couple of years, had to step back because at the time my girls were younger. Now they're 19 and 14. I'm free to drink and party uninhibited. So his Afro Beer Chick was created 2 years ago, and it was actually a coworker of mine was like, hey, Chalonda, you have this kick-ass Afro, you love beer, you like to talk. Why not start your own platform? And that's how it started.
Now, before you had that Goose Island, did you like beer at all?
That's what I was wondering.
I was drinking the regular stuff, like the MGDs and the Heinekens, before I knew better.
The usual, yeah.
Yeah.
Heineken's about as bad as it gets.
The skunk beer.
Right.
I gotta say, I'm a little bit disappointed because you got your hair in a all wrapped up tonight. I was like, I want to see this Afro.
Oh my God.
It doesn't
You know
do
what?
it,
Okay.
when you see the picture like this, it really doesn't do it justice.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
we're looking for the fro here, so
I'm so sorry, guys.
No, don't.
I got wrapped up. We got a new puppy, so trying to get it acclimated to the house. And I'm under this. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie The Color Purple, but the character that plays that's the young Seeley, that's how my hair is looking right now.
Okay.
all you had to say is
But
you
it's
have
stuff is like bright ass red.
all you have to say is you have a puppy, and we're all like, we get it. Don't worry about it.
Yep. No, we're all dog people too. So
I saw the puppy pictures on Twitter. That was cool.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, and then it was like looking at beer. It was looking at some half acre or something. Like,
Yeah, see, I was running late, so I didn't get my beer delivered. And she got really excited when she saw the cans. I was like, oh, hell, I like you already.
Man, we need beer delivery.
beer delivered.
How does that work?
It's called Chicago.
Instacart?
Yeah, Instacart. I know Benny's does it. I don't think they'll do it up here though.
Well, I live in a small town. I live in just outside of Milwaukee, and I can't get beer delivered there.
Because you can walk.
That's true. I'm only half a mile or so from my liquor store, so.
Hey, I'm actually supposed to be coming up there on Saturday too, to Milwaukee.
Ah, cool. Where are you going?
So the
Anything beer
1840 beer release for 9.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's on Saturday. Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is this your? Well, is the beer gig a full-time gig for you, or you have another job outside of just your love of beer?
Oh, I have a 9 to 5 to pay the bills. No.
To pay for the beer, we understand.
To pay for the, we know. So here's the thing. Okay, my 9 to 5 pays for the kid. The merchandise on my website sponsors my beer habit.
There you go.
Excellent.
Everybody go get something from our website so you can buy more beer. We all understand and love that.
She's got some cool T-shirts. So, and
wait, I'm going to right now.
Yeah,
I'm trying to show it, but
she's got a shop, T-shirts, hoodies,
there's shop,
glassware, stickers, and you even have a return policy. Wow, you're like you're like a legit store.
I want to take care of my customers.
That's just funny to me. You even have a return policy. That's amazing.
Is there men's sizes?
Yes, there
Only for
are
women,
men's
dude.
shirts and men's sizes.
Only for women.
Most of the shirts are unisex.
Do you sell? Are most of your customers in the Chicago area, or are you selling all across?
Oh, less adulty, more beer. That's great.
I have been selling not only in North America. I have had shirts to go to Canada, France, Germany.
No shit.
You're everywhere.
Yeah.
Now, who does your? Do you do the artwork? Are you an artiste?
I help create it, but I won't say that I'm an artist.
Yeah, we aren't either. I love the less adulting, more beer. I think that's.
Oh man, that's like one of my favorites.
Yeah, that's perfect.
I keep wanting to click on on my screen here, but you're controlling it. I'm like, wait, no, I was looking at that.
Yeah, you can't do that. Sorry, it's all me, man.
I'll just go to a different window then.
You can do that too. So, you got into beer.
Mm-hmm.
When did you? Now you have a podcast, or you had a podcast? I think you have one, right?
No, I don't have a podcast. I was just doing like
you have the
sporadic beer reviews every so often on my Twitter account.
Gotcha.
She's got the podcast directory.
There's a podcast directory. I clicked on. I was like, oh, you got a podcast? No, you don't have a podcast.
Other
Oh no, that's for podcasts that I follow and I add them on as I go.
Very nice.
Who is doing your photography for different images and design on your website? It's fantastic. Me? That's really well done. I like it.
Is your new puppy a golden?
Yes, he is.
Oh boy! All right, go ahead, Chad. We'll sit back while you talk about your dogs.
Yeah, we could do a whole show just talking about the
Talk
dogs.
about dogs.
I have 5 dogs. 4 of them are golden retrievers.
Ow, we may need to talk. I have questions. This is my first golden retriever.
Great dogs.
And that's like just got him today, like hours ago.
Oh
wow!
Jeez.
Well, just stay away from the water because they'll go right into it.
Okay, thank you for that. And I do live by the beach.
Yeah, they will go in the water every chance
Yeah,
they get.
our dogs. I mean, they see water, they just start salivating. Not to drink it, but they are all about it. They love swimming.
Awesome.
So much. Yeah, they're great water dogs. But this isn't a show about dogs. I saw the picture. I'm like, oh, it's a golden puppy. What's his name?
Riley.
Right. Oh, I had a Wiley. sorry. We're just sorry.
I had a Steve.
All right. Cool.
Sure, dude.
So
I'm gonna shut up.
No, please don't.
Because I got dogs on the brain
You
now.
run the show.
So how has your opinion of the Chicago beer scene changed since 2009? Is there any the number of breweries, any breweries that got a lot bigger that you didn't expect? And I'd also be curious, has it been difficult to grow sort of the network of women drinkers in Chicago, or has that been easy to find?
Man, the scene since 2009 is overwhelming because it seems like every time you turn around, there's a new brewery that's opening up, or there's some in the works that's getting ready to open up.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I am surprised that some of the ones after tasting the beer, like they actually opened up. I am also happy for the ones that probably didn't start off as strong, but over the years, of the last couple of years, they grew because they listened to constructive criticism. And there's maybe a couple that I'm surprised that is still here because they're not necessarily selling, but because they just have the money to back and play brewers. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to offend anybody, but it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
As far as the women, they were always around. It's just like now I think over the last few years is more, people are starting to take us a little bit more seriously. We still have some work to do, but women beer drinkers have been around. It's just, you know, we just kind of got overlooked because this is always considered to be a man's industry.
Yeah, we were just talking the other day about women seem to gravitate more towards wine.
Well, is that just is that just a perception?
No, that's the stats. That was a
yeah.
stat that was released just yesterday. Like 20 some odd percent said there were women said there were beer drinkers, the rest were men.
Yeah, and our conversation kind of revolved around whether it was because the beer industry has been more of a male thing.
Well, marketed towards males.
It's
marketed towards males.
Or it could also be some of our society is telling women, oh, you should be drinking wine, and the men drink beers and the whiskey or whatever the hell it is.
Yeah.
Go to the cigar room or some shit like that.
Yeah, then when we do get a beer, for some reason we get it, it's a gimmick. It's called chick beer or bitch beer. Like, don't use us as a gimmick to sell your beer.
Or it's called White Claw. It's called White Claw.
Yeah. There you go.
I had to throw it out there. Sorry. I know. Yeah, it is. It's a gimmick. Or the other thing we had talked about is just, do women want to drink a beer that is misogynistic? Like, what was the one? Panty Dropper?
Well, you tweeted another article today that talked about some names that were revoked, and they were awful.
In North Carolina, there was a story today in North Carolina. The North Carolina Alcohol Bureau had shot down a whole bunch of names.
What were some of those?
One was a polygamy porter, which is legal in Utah, like the beer and the polygamy both are, but North Carolina didn't allow it. What were the other ones? Crap, I didn't remember. I can't remember what they were, but anyway. When you come across a beer that's something like that, Panty Dropper or whatever, like,
oh god, we saw one that was called Leg Spreader.
Leg Spreader. That was the other one.
Oh my gosh!
It's like,
really, that one could go either way. I mean, you got gay guys that might take offense to it too. I don't know, but
I won't even touch it. Like, I won't even give it a time of day.
No.
Yeah,
I don't care how good it is, or if I heard how good it is. I'm not gonna touch it because we know who they're trying to market to. So I just kind of ignore those beers.
Yeah. And Rod Jackson makes a good point. By all accounts, women did make beer. If you look back through history, it was actually the women who discovered beer. And even back in the early days of beer over in Europe, it was the women at home that were actually brewing the beer.
Yeah.
And then a lot of times when breweries would start up, it was the women who actually taught the men how to brew the beer. So absolutely right. Yeah.
Yeah. Funny how men have now forgotten that.
Of course we do. Sure, man. And Rod has a polygamy porter at home. So.
Ooh, Rod, you didn't tell me that when I was on there last week.
Yeah, I've had that porter. They're out of Utah.
Yeah, so that's why it's totally fine there. But North Carolina is like, I think the Bureau actually said polygamy is illegal, so this will not be allowed. It's like, all right, there you go.
Yeah.
We started talking about diversity. I mean, diversity in craft beer has been a big topic. Really, it has.
Yes.
Which is a great thing. part of me wonders, does it have to do with the Cheeto in office and all of his divisiveness?
Oh man.
But I think either way, it's about time that it happened. It is something that needs to be talked about. And so I don't know if you guys saw, but today the Brewers Association released their diversity report.
Yep.
And if I can find it.
Yeah, I got it up here.
88% of brewery owners that were in the survey are white.
Brewery owners.
Of non-brewery production roles, 7% are Hispanic, 3.5% are black. There's something else in here too. But anyway, that's a huge
96% of the owners were male.
That's what I was looking for. Yeah, 96% were male.
Let's see. 7.5% of brewers are women. The number of female staff jumps to 37% for women in non-production, non-service roles like sales and marketing. So yeah, the numbers are quite skewed, both on male, female, also in ethnicity as well. I think one of the things we talked about focusing on season 3 this year is the diversity of beer drinkers. So, I mean, that's one of the reasons we're super excited to have you on tonight and talk about some of this stuff. So,
great.
What do you?
Well, diversity.
Go ahead.
In the beer is much needed. Like I just went to Fresh Fest this past weekend, and what is so dope about Fresh Fest is that I remember when I first started Afro Beer Chick 2 years ago, I was looking for breweries that were owned by Black people so I can highlight them and celebrate them.
Sure.
And at the time, it was only 6 in the nation. Wow. When I went to Fresh Fest this past weekend, they had 23 Black-owned breweries.
Wow.
So we're edging up there, but the diversity conversation still needs to be had, because I can tell you from my experience that Black people are still not taken seriously when it comes in the beer industry. You know, so it's like that we have to constantly push that conversation, because we drink beer too. We drink awesome beer. We have plenty of people who like to brew beer, you know, who like to talk about beer. So that conversation has constantly been had.
And why do you think that is? Not, I guess since we were talking about it already, why do you think that is? You know, the Black community has just not felt welcome because when they walk into a brewery, what they're seeing, or you know, what's your opinion?
I'm going to say, even in Chicago, I have walked into a brewery and I have been the only Black woman, and I've gotten stared at. For the most part, people have been quite welcoming, but there have been times where I wasn't taken seriously, or I was told I didn't belong. And my question is, how is that? Why do I not belong if if you and I are sitting there at the bar, I'm a Black woman and you may be a white male, but we're still drinking the same pale ale? Why do I not belong? If I can break down the beer, the content of the beer better than you can.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we totally agree with you. It's really a damn shame.
Nobody owns beer.
Yeah.
How could you say?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate.
I mean, the Russians own vodka, but outside of that, nobody owns anything. Right?
Well, the French have cognac.
French.
Yeah.
They just run away. It's a big deal. What about women? I mean, why? Actually, maybe I have to ask it a different way. How do you think breweries can start drawing more diverse people into their breweries? Whether it's women, whether it's people of color, or ethnicities, like what changes could be made to make, when you go to a tap room, a more diverse scene?
Oh man, you know what? Honestly, that's a good question. I'm going to say honestly to start hosting events that are pushing diversity. So if you have a brewery that may have an African American brewer, let's highlight that, because not many people know there are Black brewers that have brewed the beer that they're drinking. You know,
Yeah.
so like for instance, there's another blogger here in Chicago called Black and Brew Chicago. She's pushing that whole diversity talk. And what I love about Mickey is the fact that she just did an event at a Lulu. Like for instance, I'm gonna be honest with you. I had no idea that the head brewer at a Lulu in Chicago was Black. Now I know.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because in Chicago, I'm gonna be honest with you, as dope as the city we are, we still also kind of segregated still.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah.
Yeah,
sure.
I think a lot of big cities are that way. You know, it's Chicago. Chicago's not alone in having that same issue. But I mean, it's got to start. It's got to start somewhere. And I think that part of this marketing push to drop some of these names is a good start for women. But there's other things that can be done for the other Hispanics and blacks and Asians. Whoever they should be marketing to everybody, not just.
My guess is
white
too.
guy.
There's probably a fair number of breweries, and I have no data on this, so I could be way off. I'm completely pulling this out of my ass.
Yep, here we go. Get ready for this one, boys.
My guess, yeah, here it comes.
Here it
something.
comes.
Hold on.
And we're off the air.
My guess is there's probably a lot of breweries that could still hire more diversity in various positions. And maybe if that happened, then you would have more people working at the brewery that says, hey, we should host this event, or hey, we're not really marketing to places to reach, whatever this, women, whatever the audience is that they want to reach. I think it's probably very maybe lazy, maybe just familiar for status quo to just market to people that look like themselves and think about the experience for those people. But if you have more people in your brewery that are come from different backgrounds, then you're going to start to get some different ideas about how to reach different audiences. So
here's the thing: is when you hire them, don't put them in the back of the brewery. Put them in the forefront where they can be seen.
Yep.
That's very important.
I mean, I would say put them everywhere. Maybe it's a brewer, maybe it's a server, maybe it's somebody in your marketing department, maybe it's somebody that's working on social media. Maybe. I mean, I think you're right that it's great to have somebody that you can recognize at the door or in the brewery that you see. But I also think it's important that there's somebody that's thinking about how this brewery is putting out their brand and who that brand is reaching. So it's not just seeing the person, but knowing the people behind pushing out the brand. And I don't know. My guess is, and maybe those jobs, I don't know. Maybe not enough people feel like they want to seek that out. I mean, I'm surprised somebody. I mean, obviously, you're right. I mean, Chicago still could be segregated, but I can't. That's crazy that somebody at a brewery is like, you don't belong here. Like, what the hell are you talking about?
Well, I think when you hear stories like founders, it's so discouraging.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
It's like you have somebody who's in this position and who deserves to be moved up, but they have to go through all this crap. So when it hits the fan, founders want to be hands off, like, oh no, we didn't do it. No, we seen you do it.
Yeah.
So now I don't know. I mean, I'm bold enough to say for me, I'm just canceled.
Have you ever just straight like boycotted or dropped a place because they're clearly not evolving?
Founders, like I'm never going to buy another beer.
Yeah.
With everything that they have put Tracy through. I don't care how much I like CBS.
In case people don't know, what happened to Founders?
Well, they had a black brewer that they were heavily discriminating. Not only did they want to promote him, but they called him derogatory names. They basically blatantly was racist towards him. So if you come into like the black side of the industry, you'll find that people have kind of canceled Founders. Like they're not touching it.
Yeah.
Founders has got some issues all over the place. I honestly don't think I've bought anything from Founders since that story came out, and not solely because of that story, but there's just some things with that brewery that are odd in the craft beer world, I think. But
Yeah. No, we have real quick. We have some comments we got to catch up on. Ralph, much love to Afro Beer Chick. Thank you very much.
Hey, Ralph.
Rod loves the topic. He also did add that more diversity opens up more opportunities for education and outreach. Absolutely true. There's the F word again. Oh, founders. I think it's what it is. Yeah, I was like, I mean, we probably said it a lot, but yeah.
We try to limit ourselves.
Ralph, showcasing more diversity in advertising can help, in my opinion. That's absolutely true. And that's something we actually talked about on our live stream last night a little bit, where we were talking more about women in beer. And I had tweeted yesterday a story about that. And I had said, I don't know, could it be that there aren't as many women drinking beer because they don't like the way they're portrayed by beer? Just complete and utter sex objects. We talked about the Swedish bikini team back in the day, those advertisements, the Swedish bikini team. Why would you? Why would you want to be a part of that? And then Rod, the founders has been done for me for a while now. Yeah, I hear you. That's true.
There's a just a real quick story. We talked
Sidebar.
about this last night too, but the one poster that comes to mind is the liquor store up in Door County that I buy stuff from. They got this like hallway in the back where it's full of
Chad goes to a liquor store from like 1940.
Yeah,
apparently yes.
It's all the old school chick beer posters with the bikini team and the one poster that I thought was, I mean, bold for the day, but surprising that they actually did this was PBR had a girl in a one piece swimsuit with the shoulder strap off and her hand was covering her boob and it said, "Bring me a PBR" or something like that. Like, that's
what
the kind of marketing.
What does that
they're
have
going
to do with?
I know. But that's the kind of stuff that's been going on for, I mean, decades now, because these posters are from the 70s and 80s.
Yeah, there's a brewery in I believe it's the UK, and I can't think of the name of it right now. It's escaping me because I remember tweeting them. They did a gimmicky beer to basically highlight the lack of pay of women in the industry. So, and here's the thing, they still don't pay their female employees the same as they do their males. So I remember tweeting out, say, hey, instead of creating this beer for your profit, how about you just pay your female employees what they should be paid? So basically it's like we're used as gimmicks to sell. I've seen beer labels where boobs are out, or there's bitch in the name of the beer. Like, stop using us as gimmicks to sell the beer. Either make great beer and let us drink it, or keep that piss water and stop using us as gimmicks.
Well, and I was just gonna say,
Good, excellent way to put that.
If I were to
That's the
see that
show over.
now,
Drop mic, we're done.
it would kind of irritate me. I would be turned off to that because I'd be like, this is probably just shitty beer, and they think I'm so stupid that if they put any boob on there, I'm gonna open it up and drink it.
That's exactly what's going on.
But
right?
A lot of men will.
I was gonna say.
Well,
a lot of men will.
So that brewery in the UK, they were like trying to play both sides. They were trying to have this, like, hey, we support this by putting out this beer, but oh, by the way, we're still,
Yeah, I wish I could remember the name of the beer right now, and I really can't because I remember tweeting about it. Like, hey, just pay your female employees. You don't need to make a beer about it. Just do it.
Right.
If you really care that much about it, just do it.
Yeah, they respond.
No.
Nope.
They don't like getting called out.
Yeah, no, don't call them out.
Well, they probably had no idea how to respond. I mean, they get called out like that. They're like, well, what the hell do we do with this?
Like, we're just gonna be quiet and hopefully she goes away.
Yeah.
Exactly. Let's just wait.
Don't ever do that. Don't ever go away.
The email didn't go through. I don't know what happened. There's no Twitter.
Keep pushing.
Real quickly, sidebar. We did move on to the Big Bad Baptist Reserve. And
it's very, very coffee.
Yeah, Imperial Stout with coffee,
heavy
cocoa,
coffee.
Yeah.
cocoa nibs, coconut added, and aged in whiskey and rum barrels. Where's my
That sounds good.
11.6 Abava.
Wow. I'm keeping it light over here. I'm still in recovery from the weekend.
Well, tomorrow.
Let me tell you guys real quick. I shared a house with a bunch of people from IG who I did not know before Thursday, okay? Which turned out to be dope. So we named our house club the Syndicate. So shouts out to my Syndicate friends, which one of them, which says Bearded Black Man, he's a part of our Syndicate. Shouts out. From Thursday to Sunday, we drank. I'm 40 years old. I haven't drank years.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like a 4-day bender.
that
So it's
has
like, okay,
been
right now, keeping the light.
that has been a topic among us three.
Well, Adam and I specifically. Jake's not quite to 40, but
Geez, much respect, though. I mean,
Yeah,
I
but
don't
he's-
know that I could do that.
He's not 40, but he acts like it. You just can't go out and do that. Like the recovery time, you used to wake up and the next day be like, all right, I went to McDonald's, I'm good to go. But now it's like, I'm down for 2 days. Like I'm done. I can't do anything.
well, and we're drinking some high ABV beers tonight, and we're drinking out of these tiny little glasses. We're not.
Man, and here's the thing, like the day of the fest, I don't know what I was drinking because I couldn't leave my table. So I was vending. So it was like people were just bringing me beer. I can't tell you what I was drinking. I didn't know it was good, but I was drinking it.
No untapped check-ins for you.
I'm bad about Untapped, even when I'm sober.
Yeah. We talked about our untaps last night. We are drinking these beers because tomorrow is Chad's birthday. So
Oh, happy birthday!
Yeah, thanks.
yeah, whatever. Thanks. I'm old. What the hell? Who cares? I'm closer to death. Big deal.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't care much for birthdays anymore. Yeah.
All right. So more comments here.
Ooh, heavy coffee.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Beer Chick gonna hit up your website this weekend and shirt and glass since I had to pull out a Fresh Fest. Yeah, you hurt your arm, right? Isn't that what happened, Rod? I think.
Oh man, I wanted to meet him.
But also talking about the diversity issue, what do you all think about the popular use of hip hop references despite the shortage of black people as discussed?
Man, let's get on that.
Are we hip hop references in the commercials or just on beer?
Just with the beer. So it's like you're using the hip hop community to appeal to a community that's not the black community. So, and I hate to say it, and it's like someone, like one of my Twitter friends made a statement. He said, culture vultures for profit.
Mm-hmm.
You want to put on this image. You want to take our culture and use it for profit, but you don't want to include us.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes.
I think that's
Absolutely.
well articulated.
Yeah.
And I think that, unfortunately, that happens a lot more than just beer, especially in this country. I mean, there's all kinds of accessories and apparel and
Hold on. My beer dart just went off. I heard a new beer open.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
That's me.
Dude, new beer.
Just opening up half acres of Oldham
Oh, yeah, it's a good
by
one.
supporting into the ABC glass. See?
Yes.
Sweet.
I finished off a pack of that. I will have to say hi to my mother-in-law. My mother-in-law's out here. Apparently, she liked your
yeah.
glasses. So on your side, I assume. So,
Oh, thank you.
and she also says happy birthday, Chad.
Oh, thanks.
young man.
Yeah.
Young man.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Rod broke his wrist. That's why he couldn't go. So yeah.
Yeah, right. I wanted to meet you next time.
I actually got quite a bit of jealousy going, seeing everybody's tweets and instas from Fresh Fest. So I did actually put it on my calendar. It's in Pittsburgh. That's a drive. I can drive there. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, I told you
You
it's
like
6.5 hours.
Yeah, that's not bad. And Pittsburgh's a nice
Is
city.
that all? 6.5 hours?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it was supposed to be 8 hours for me. I made it like 6.
Yeah, see, I can do that. That's what I'm saying. That's how you got to go.
Were you driving a Ferrari or something?
No, I was driving a Jeep Grand Cherokee. I was pushing it. I had like the little radar thing. Like, look, there's no cops around. Doing like 100 miles per hour. Hey.
She spent extra $100 in gas, but she got there
Actually, no. One tank of gas got me to and from.
to and from. Wow.
Well, I'm not to and from, but one tank of gas got
One
me
there,
to,
one
and
back.
one got me back.
Yeah, okay, I was going to say, if it got you to and from.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
How gas station?
Well, I
you
know.
going to?
Well, I think I need to buy a Jeep Cherokee.
Yeah, my car is horrible.
This became a plug for a Cherokee here.
Jeez.
Ralph says we should talk about your driving skills.
Let me. Ralph, really?
Yes, thank you, Ralph.
Thank
you, Ralph.
Okay.
That's awesome.
Since he went there, okay, to keep from ordering Ubers all the time, and it was only two of us in the house that actually drove because we were vending. Because I had the SUV, I was the driver. So I drive like a Chicagoan, like, from the west side, the south side. So all my syndicate people, did you die though? You're alive.
Right, you're alive. Okay? You walked away from the car, you're fine.
Exactly.
They were happy. They
Even
got there
though you
quick.
were sitting in the trunk, you're alive.
It's true. It's funny, living out in the burbs, I drive one way. But as soon as I hit Chicago city limits, that switch flips.
There's an opening. You got to take it. You don't.
You just go. You hand over the horn, and middle finger ready.
That defensive driving. I mean, especially now in Chicago, you have to drive like it's a course to keep from getting shot. Because you just don't know.
Bob and weave.
Like, let me put the pedal to the metal and let me just get off the Dan Ryan because I don't know what's gonna happen.
Yeah, you're not even safe on the Dan Ryan anymore. Like that used to be like, I'm okay. I'm not downtown. I'm on the Dan. I'm fine. Now it's not. You can have somebody coming from the wrong way on the Dan Ryan nowadays. So
sounds like you got the driving skills of Muhammad Ali here.
Man, I would be an awesome getaway driver.
Yeah, there you go. Anybody hiring a getaway driver? Anybody?
We could add that to the site here, under shop.
Yeah. Put that under shop, getaway driver.
New t-shirt.
Awesome getaway driver.
A per mile fee.
Oh man, Rob, I can't believe you put me out there like that.
Getaway Uber. That's getaway Uber.
And I used to drive for Uber too. I used to drive just like that.
Oh, okay. Now tell me about that. Tell me what driving Uber was like. I mean, I think I would hate every second of it because I don't like human beings. But beyond that, I mean, you had to see some crazy shit.
Man, I've had my window busted. I've had to put somebody out on the side of the Dan Ryan. I either told me to get out of my car or I was going to take him to Inglewood. I mean, it was interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah, I had a buddy who drove Uber down in Atlanta, and he had some very crazy stories about being propositioned multiple times and people puking in his car, people leaving stuff, and he said he had two girls who got in the car drunk, and he usually didn't pick up drunk people, but it was like his last one, and they're going like towards where he lives. So he's like, I'm just gonna get this done. Whatever. They get done, they get out, they go. He looks in the back seat. Their underwear, their purses, and bras are in the back of their seat. And he's like, I didn't notice anybody getting undressed. He's like, when they got out, they had their clothes on. He's like, but in the back seat, I had 2 pair of underwear, 2 bras, and a purse. It's like, I don't know what happened.
How were they doing?
He didn't. He's like, I don't know. Like, you're not keeping your eye on what's going on behind you.
Lay some blankets down back there.
There you go, Ralph. Ralph admits you're right. I'm still alive. Seriously, though, the whole Fresh Fest weekend will be a moment in life I will never forget. Yeah, it sounds like that was an awesome event. Hopefully
it was.
Make it out there.
We actually hosted a bottle share at our Airbnb.
Did you get your deposit back?
Actually, we did a great job of keeping it clean. We cleaned it up. But we had people coming with coolers.
Oh man,
we had so much beer. It was ridiculous.
I think I saw some pictures of that on Twitter. Like the tables, just bottles and cans everywhere.
And that was just a fraction of what we had. So, yeah. It was lit.
Now, are you going to Great American Beer Fest?
I am.
Man.
Yes.
Yeah, we're not going to that one either.
Are you?
I'm only going because I'm also a freelance makeup artist. So a wife of one of the brewers there said, "Hey, look, I need you to come do my makeup for me. They used to live here in Chicago. And she's like, look, I will pay for your way to get here, and you can get into the fest. I'm like, I'm there.
Nice.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll do makeup.
Well-
You may not look it after I do it, but I'll do it. You look like a
Let me see
clown or
those
something.
pics.
Look like Bozo or something. But
That's
hey,
awesome. That's a great, you just can't say no to that. That's a great deal. Have you done these? I'm looking at the article on Craft Beer Association, Beers Without Beards in New York, and then there's Female Brew Fest in South Florida. You know about those or going to those or?
Not yet. I am starting to make my way around to these fests. And my next, outside of Great American Beer, GABF this year, I'm planning to go to Wake Fest in February. So I have to pull this one off in February because it's like super close to my kid's birthday. So I don't know.
What is that one and where is it at?
That one is in Miami, Florida.
Oh, nice.
And that's February 15th.
Man, nice. Miami and Florida in February.
That's a good time to go.
Yes, that's how I really want to go.
yeah, we got to get the podcast bigger so people start inviting us to these things.
Show up.
We did have somebody from the Brewery Association on, and it's funny. I think he regretted saying it, but on the podcast, he's like, "Yeah, well, we should be able to get you guys, press passes. Media passes to the Great American Beer Fest, no problem." I'm like, "Oh, cool, man, cool." And then I go to their once they announce it, and I go to their site and I look at what it takes to get media credentials. I'm like, we're close to those requirements.
We got a ways
what are
to
you
go.
talking about? Something like 100,000 clicks on your website per month and 10,000 subscribers on
YouTube,
all social platforms, and it's like, what? So,
Yeah, I wouldn't be there either. I'm not close to that either. I mean, unless you start paying for that type of stuff, but I mean, I'm not doing that. So
right? Yeah,
that wouldn't be either.
my wife's already upset at everything I bought. Equipment wise, I start paying for clicks, and she's like, "What are you? What is this Russian people you're sending money to in Russia? It's for clicks, babe. What's the big deal?
They're just bots. Don't
They're
worry
just-
about it.
I'm helping them pay for the election and help me out. It's a big deal. Not a problem here.
I love it. 2 Trump slams in this episode
Thank
so
you.
far.
Don't worry, I got a lot of them. I'm locked and loaded.
What does your shirt say? I'm noble. I'm unique. I'm influence. I am the hop.
So shouts out to Crown and Hops. This is their shirt.
Sweet.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
I like that shirt. I was trying to see more.
So, are you still a Goose Island fan? Did you have any feelings when they sort of sold?
I did. I was like, more like, how dare you do some crap like that?
Right.
But
Now, well, before we talk about them,
Why you keep stopping me from talking about what I want to talk
no,
about?
I'm just wondering.
Man, I'm out of here.
No. It's still Goose Island related. I just want to know because one of her first craft beers was
Yeah.
what is it?
Sophie.
Sophie.
Yeah, she's in Chicago. That's why I was asking her.
I know, but what did you drink a lot of Goose Island prior to, and then we can talk about what Jake wants to talk about.
Shit, I put up with.
I'm just kidding. Answer Jake's question.
wait, which one was Jake's question? You guys.
Well, I love doing that.
Were
to
you?
him.
Well, my question was, were you upset? But I guess to Chad's point, I mean, were you did you like the Bourbon counties? Did you get
Now we
into
admit your
those?
question was a good question. I'm confused.
Well,
by
I
this
mean,
right
we
now.
could. I guess your point is like, how big of a fan were you to begin with?
Before, yes.
Was so.
You know what? I wasn't to where I cried like, oh my God, I can't believe you did this. I think it's more about this is a Chicago thing. You guys are Chicago's oldest brewery. Why did you do this? I mean, they were my first go-to craft beer. Outside of that, I'm gonna be honest with you, it had been years up until maybe 2017 that started drinking Goose Island again, and that was only around the release of like DCS.
Yeah.
So every so often, like I went to the block party, had a great time, I still rock with Goose Island. I got to still show them that love. I think it's that Chicago nostalgia. Their BCS beers, like the props and the midnight oranges, I rock with them. And I have some people that says, no, I'm not touching them because they sold out. That's not me.
Yeah, it was we read the book Barrel Aged Beer and Sailing Out by Josh Noel. We actually had Josh on season 2 and interviewed him. It was funny after we read that. We were kind of all up in arms after reading that book.
I went through so many emotions reading that book.
It was actually watching him go through the complete every stage of grief. I think he went through it 5 times.
Tried to make a deal. I cried.
Yeah, he was not happy about it. But I think something we often have said on here, even when we talk to other brewers, and they've said it too, is like you can't blame these guys for taking the payday. Like, for these guys who have spent years doing this, they've put all their money into it.
They worked their ass off.
Why not take the
what's annoying
payday?
is when I travel around the country and I see 312, and people think that they're drinking like Chicago beer. I'm like, shit, that hasn't been made in Chicago in years.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, I wouldn't blame them for taking the payday, but they still try to promote it as a Chicago beer. They're not saying
They don't have
the
any say in
312 and their IPA and the Green Line is not AB InBev. People don't know.
I don't blame Lagunitas. Hell, I'm gonna be honest with you. I would have sold out too if you would have gave me $1 billion.
Yeah,
that's the other thing too. You look at it now and you're like, you know what, Goose, you sold out, but see what some of these other people sold for, you got.
They got a little bit longer.
You got $30 million. These people getting $500 million.
Yeah. Wicked Weed.
Yeah, Wicked Weed got a shitload.
Yeah.
Back in the truck.
Rod J's asking, do we get Platform beer? And if we have any thoughts about them? Latest being bought by InBev. I don't know that I've had a Platform.
I haven't.
No.
I'd heard of them.
Are they East Coast?
No, they are. What was it? Cincinnati.
Well, it's farther east than me, so that's East Coast.
Well, that's not a coast.
It's east of Chicago. It's East Coast. All right, Indiana's East Coast.
I'll
all right.
Find out. We talked about.
No. He did not say Indiana's on the East Coast.
No.
How many beers have you had?
Driving through Indiana and smelling it, it's not East Coast. It's an armpit.
I was back driving to Pittsburgh.
They're in Cleveland. Thanks, Rod. Rod J got it.
Yeah.
He beat your
I was close.
typing.
I said Cincinnati.
You have to
I knew it was
see-
Ohio.
That was close.
I was in the same state.
Yeah, well.
But yeah, that's the first one they bought since Wicked Weed.
Yep.
But I think I just saw the CBA that InBev owns a third of.
Of the Craft Beer Association.
Yeah.
They have their own craft beer. What do they
They've
call
been
that?
purchasing again too as well.
Have they?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I didn't see that.
I don't know. My whole thought on all the. I don't like BA's practices, ABs and practices and stuff. The deception that they do, all that stuff. But I can't blame the craft beer guy for wanting to get the money. I mean, you're a businessman and you've put.
Ton of hours, shitload of hours.
We all know. We've all looked into opening a brewery before. We know the cost of what it takes. Not to mention the time and hours you're gonna have to give up with family and stuff. Like, you come to me and say, "Hey, I'll give you." I don't have to be $1 billion. You give me $10 million. You give me $5 million. I'm out. That's fine.
Later, bitches.
Yeah, right. I'll sign your paperwork and then tell me when I can start a new brewery.
As
That's what I'm gonna go do next.
As long as it's if they sell out, fine. I have no problem with that. But as long as you're not promoting your product as still being a true craft beer product.
I just like the
That's
transparency.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But what has happened with Goose and InBev is that InBev realized they're not doing as good with the 312s, and they've actually started to bring them back and brewing them in Chicago instead of other parts of the country. So
Are
they're-
they?
yeah,
312?
they said they're bringing 312 back to Chicago, and there's another one they're bringing back to Chicago. I can't remember.
Well, that
what it
one they
is.
should, especially. I mean, given the name of the beer.
Never mind, they screwed it up. Let it stay. Where it's at.
Don't bring it back. Forget it.
Nah, we good. We good.
I still
There's some beers that they have that are still pretty good.
Yeah.
But that 312, I can pass on that.
Yeah, I mean the 312. I think I've had it a couple of times. The one thing that kind of surprises me about Goose Island is the way in Chicago they're still completely loved and beloved. Like people line up for days.
Well, they line up for BCS.
But people still show up. I mean, their tap room's packed. It's not like people are walking away.
I think it's just basically that Chicago love. Like people lined up for the Cubs, and it took them like 500 years to win the World Series. You know,
That sounds
this
like a
is the
Sox
Chicago love.
That sounds like a Sox fan right there. Is that, are you a Sox
Do you
fan?
have a favorite Chicago brewery right now?
Hey, I asked an important question.
Half Acre.
Half Acre.
Damn it.
Half Acre has been a constant solid
Jake did it to you. I know.
in my rotation, and so has Maplewood
Maplewood.
and
Maplewood,
Alarmist.
and so you're saying
I
you
know
can't
what?
give us one, is what you're saying.
So here's the thing: when I get asked that question, hey, what's your favorite beer or what's your favorite brewery in Chicago? That's like asking me which one is my favorite daughter. It depends on what I'm drinking at the moment or who has pissed me off the most at that moment. I don't
Who's the
know.
last one to get in trouble? That's the one that's not my
Right.
favorite right now.
Do you like Revolution?
So I do like Revolution. Actually, it's so funny because yesterday I put out, was it yesterday? Yeah, it was yesterday. I just put out, say, hey, who wants to let me be a brewer for the day? And Revolution reached out and said, hey, hit us up. So I'm going to hit them up and see if I can be a brewer for the day with
Oh, that'd
them.
be awesome.
That would be sick.
Very cool.
Wow. I'll send you one of our cards to give them because I've been trying to get do an interview with them forever. They won't call me back.
Hopefully somebody's watching.
Yeah, right. Oh, man. Yeah, Revolution's probably it is hard when they say what's your favorite brewery. That's a hard question.
If you say what's your top three, I can answer that. But if you say what's your favorite, yeah, that's a hard question.
That's my question, Jake. What's your favorite? I'm asking.
Because there's so many. Like, for instance, we just, like,
State Farm.
Elder Rogers Park, we just had a brewery to open called Whiskey Hill. Whiskey Hill was originally out in Westmont. Now, when it was called Myths and Legends, I kind of stayed away from it. So one day on my way home, I decided I'm going to stop and give it a try. Man, they had this one beer called S'mores Minutes. It's a stout, and that beer was freaking amazing.
Nice.
And it's right there on the way home.
Perfect.
Right
No
on the
run
way
stop
Yeah,
and
so-
everything.
on the way home. Yeah, that sounds
Right, so my kids say, hey, Mom, where you at? I'm down the street.
Grocery shopping. What's
No,
your
just
what's your favorite beer right now? Do you have like I can't ask you what's your favorite beer
Yeah,
because for me it's like right now my favorite is this. Usually it's the one in front of me, but like what is a beer right now that's you're like
Style
we could go style. I don't care.
or just beer?
okay.
He's
My
hijacking
favorite
the
beer,
question,
I'll be honest with you, is Hailstorm's Coconut Black.
Oh,
That beer is so freaking good.
I haven't had that one either.
Oh man, it's so good. Like, there's a reason why I've been chasing like the coconut taste, the coconut in stouts, and I have not really come close to a beer. I haven't found anyone that comes close to that. I also love Saint Laurent. They have one called Collier and Contrapasso, which they brew out of Beguile. They're really good.
You broke up just a little bit when you said the brewery name. What was it?
Saint Laurent.
Saint Laurent.
Okay.
Yeah, they brew out of Beguile. They're really good.
Oh,
okay.
yeah. Yep, I've had some of Beguile's beers. They have some good.
But see, here's the thing: it's not Beguile. They just brew at
Oh, the
Beguile.
brew at Beguile. Okay.
Yeah, they don't have a tap room or anything. They just kind of brew at Beguile, and they're really small. But they have some amazing beers. You know, they just kind of overlooked. You know.
That's kind of an interesting thing I've seen been happening, or I've heard about happening more lately, is where another somewhat established brewery lets another brewery come in and use their equipment to brew their beer. Like up in Waukegan, Zumbeer, they a new brewery called Black Lung brews out of Zumbeer. You know, and to me that's cool. You know, technically in any other industry, you'd be like, well, that's my competition. I'm not going to let you use my stuff. But it's more like a brotherhood. You know, helping them get off the ground, helping them start brewing and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, everybody seems to get along nicely, and you're friends with your competition, and
I'm sure there's some.
But that's the thing, is like in the craft beer industry, is it really competition? Because it's like I've seen brewers for one brewery assist maybe 4 others. I think it's more
You're right. You're
love
absolutely
and community.
Yeah. Competition is
Like
not the right
Trent
word.
and, Bridge Up, you know, he went and spent a bunch of time with people he knew in Minnesota, right?
Yep.
Yeah, before he started his.
Before he started his.
But what I was saying is like in any other industry.
Oh yeah, that wouldn't happen.
You know
They'd
what
be
I mean?
like, "Oh, this is our intellectual property. This
Right,
is
you know, like-
proprietary. we
Yeah.
can't show you the secret sauce."
Like Target ran out of something and then Walmart's saying like, "Oh, here, we'll give you some." Like, no, it's not how that works. You know,
Yep.
just let them rot and die.
wow,
That's competition. That's the American way. USA, America.
I think it's because like in the craft industry, you see so many different collabs. Like you have
Yeah.
Phase 3 that collab with Corridor. You're never going to see MGD collab with anything. I mean, because honest is going to take the same anyway, so it don't have to matter.
Wasn't it Miller and Bud gonna collab on that that thing before the Super Bowl?
Well, what they were doing is they were going to
They
do
were collab on a beer, but
they were going to do a joint marketing effort where it was just kind of like a got beer type of national campaign to sort of buck the trend of people drinking less or people switching more to wine and spirits. But then the Super Bowl came, and
the
that's
corn
when
syrup fiasco.
the
The Super
corn
Bowl
syrup
happened.
went, and yeah,
Miller's like, I'm out.
yeah, Miller's like peace, yeah, and they pulled right out, and they were having because leading up to that, they had like 3 or 4 secret meetings. They were all going to joint pay for this. They had a marketing firm in there, and then
The whole time Budweiser in the background's going, yeah, we'll do it.
I'm sure they were. AB was so full of themselves that they're like, well, we'll rip them, but they'll still do it. Yeah. Or somebody wasn't talking. I don't know internally.
All right. I had something else, but now I don't remember what I was going to say. So I guess it doesn't matter. Good. Glad I said it out loud. Good to know.
Have you been to Mars?
Of course.
Yeah. What's that?
Mars is really good.
I have not been to their. It's probably a couple years old now, but I've not been to that newer location that they have.
All their beers
They have
that
a-
they've had are
They
great.
They have
renovated.
a really dope space.
Yeah.
They're actually getting ready to open up another one in Wicker Park.
Oh, really? No shit. I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
I believe that's Milwaukee Avenue in the old Walgreens.
They're like one of those breweries that they never make like my favorite beer, but I feel like I never have a bad beer from them.
No, I never get anything bad from them.
There you go.
Yeah, there's always
That's
some
the
good
perfect
flavor,
assessment.
always solid. Yeah, I'm never a drain pour, never disappointed.
No, I've never drained poured them. I have drained Mobcraft. Mobcraft, I'm still after you.
Oh,
I've told the story, but I'll tell it again. So Mobcraft, we reach out to them for an interview. This was back in June. And they responded, literally, I hit send, and literally probably got an email like less than a minute later. And their email said, thanks for your interest. We're really busy this time of year. Check with us next year.
next year.
So I'm supposed to check with you next June, even though it's the busiest time of your year.
Yeah, well, they just send you the same canned response. Yeah,
Try again next year,
Yeah.
and next year, and the next year.
Yeah, so I've Mobcraft. And plus, I haven't really had one beer from them that I've loved. So it's going to be a hard interview. I'd act like I like your beer. That's really good.
that was the worst. Scotch ale? we've
Scotch
ever
ale
had?
that was the peatiest thing in the world.
It was like
it
a
was so
foot
horrible.
dipped in peat flavor. I mean, it was.
What?
Oh, it was. I bought it because I really like Scotch ales, and I'm like, all right, cool.
Well, you really like Scotch.
That too. And yeah, you were over, and I
Oh.
cracked it open. Right when I cracked it open, I'm like, oh no, this does not smell good. Took a sip, and I literally spit it out in the sink, and then my wife took one, and she almost threw up. And we basically had like this much out of the bottle, and we just dumped it.
No, I went back. I tried.
You did try.
I tried again, and then
It was the ABV year after.
Was this one worse than
Goose Island.
Goose Island's
Islay.
Islay? Yeah.
Oh
Yeah, it was worse than Islay.
Was it?
yeah.
Yeah, the Islay is bad.
Have you had that one?
No, I haven't.
Don't.
That's a
No.
Scotch ale. It's like, yeah,
It's so bad.
I mean, if you like,
So it's like
feet,
it's a hard pass.
hard pass.
Hard
There are
pass.
people that
Very
like
hard.
feet, in other ways. So I mean, it's possible.
All right, well, I guess that's what you're in for. So let's get back on the diversity thing a little bit before we kill this out,
Okay.
because we have decided that season 3, which we just started, year number 2, episode 2 of season 3, that we're focusing more on diversity. If you look back at our seasons 1 and 2, it was the bearded white guys. That's really what it was. I mean, we interviewed brewers, we interviewed beard journalists.
Oh, guys,
beard tubers,
bearded white guys. You sit on a tweet that's a little too close to home. It was like some comedians like, I have all these friends that go to breweries with their little apps and they check in as many beers as they can. It's just a bunch of old white guys with beards playing Pokemon
for beer. Yeah,
for beer. I'm like, damn it, that was just too real. I had to stand up.
Pokemon for beer. That's a good one.
I set the phone down. I walked away. I just stared out a window for a while.
My cousin actually sent that to me on Facebook because he knows about the podcast.
That was real talk. It was too close.
Oh my gosh, that's a good one.
But we have decided that season 3 where we are going to focus more on diversity on our podcast. So
that's amazing.
We're trying to book more women who are involved in beer. My wife is very happy about that. My wife loves beer, and whenever she goes like to events with coworkers, everybody wants wine. And she's like, I want. She'll drink wine, but she's like, I want beer. I want good beer.
Cheers to your wife. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. And she's come a long way. I mean, it used to be Coors Light, and then maybe an IPA, and then back to Coors Light. But now she'll drink anything on the table. So, but we're really trying to focus on that. It's something that's really needed, and honestly, it's education for us as well.
Yes.
And, I think I kind of alluded to. I kind of asked the question before, but I'll kind of circle back. Well, actually, before I asked what can breweries do, but what can the rest of us do? Those of us that are beer lovers and want to see a more diverse culture within the craft beer culture. What can we do as individuals or even a group of people to help bring more diverse people into the craft beer?
I'm going to say it all starts with conversation. The fact that you are willing to have the conversation is the very first step, because not everybody's willing to even have the diversity conversation.
Sure.
So because you have a platform to do so, and you're open to allowing African American women and other women and other people of color and other races, it all starts there, because now you're highlighting the fact that, hey, we do exist. And as someone who is a bearded white guy, you are accepting us into the fold and saying, hey, there's nothing wrong with the diversity in this industry. So it all first starts with conversation. So if you know that there are people in your neighborhood or near you who are people of color or whatever race who enjoy beer, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to go out and have a beer with them. You know what I'm saying? Or have a conversation. It all starts there. It's that first step.
That's awesome. Yeah, and I actually would love, afterwards, if maybe you can shoot me an email or even a DM on Twitter, a list of black-owned breweries. Because I've tried to actually Google it, and I really can't find much.
I'm gonna say this: the thing I can tell you is to go to Fresh Fest, the Fresh Fest website.
Oh, the website?
You'll see a nice, extensive list on there.
Sweet. Yeah, like I said, Fresh Fest looks good. I'm really hoping to be able to go next year.
But let me tell you, Fresh Fest was amazing because it was like one big ass family reunion. Everybody was just cousins and we were there partying, and it was so much love. It was diverse. You had Garrett Oliver said it best in his tweet that I retweeted. You had some of everybody there. You had Chick people, white people, black people, just everybody there just showing love, and there was all positivity. And that's what diversity is about. That's what it should be about. Positivity with everybody.
Yeah. And it's beer. If we can't bring positivity to beer, what we failed.
I know.
Because
at the end of the day, when I'm drunk, I don't care what color you are.
Right. Hey, if you're refilling my glass, I don't care.
Anybody that has good beer is friends with me.
Exactly. Anybody has good beer, we are good friends. Absolutely right.
Less.
Yeah.
What religion they are, male, female, binary, whatever. I don't care.
Right.
Isn't it non-binary?
Is it non-binary?
Non-binary.
Oh. I don't know.
All right, I'm kicking you off the show. There you go.
All right, mute me, please.
He's gone. Leave him. I'm joking. You'll bring him back. There
They changed positions. Now I'm looking at.
Yeah, I know. They switched.
No,
I have no control over that. So.
Now I'm all confused.
All right. Any other questions, kids?
I was curious if let's say long week, busy week, maybe you don't feel like a beer. Is there any other favorite alcoholic beverages you might reach for when you're looking to unwind a little bit?
Bourbon margaritas.
Bourbon margaritas.
Ooh.
I don't think I've ever had a bourbon margarita.
So if you take a bourbon and put it put it in your margarita instead of a tequila, it's
That
amazing.
would be awesome because I'm
What
not.
time is
I'm not
it?
a tequila fan. So.
We got time.
We got time.
We could do that after this.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so here's the funny part about it. I was not a big bourbon person until like the last year or so. It's like if there's a stout that I don't like, I add bourbon to it to see if it's gonna amp it up. Or I make a beer cocktail of it before I decide it's a drain pour. Like I try to work with it, and if it's a drain pour, that means that beer is horrible.
Wait.
So-
Wait a minute.
I think you just blew Jake's
Hold
mind.
on
Hang on
a
a
second.
second.
I need to-
You mean I can pour bourbon into my beer?
So,
Hang on a second.
what if I have a beer that I like, but it's like 6.5%, 7%? Can I pour?
Trying to pump up the
Can I
ABV?
pump up? Can I pour bourbon into that?
I don't care. Like I'm a pour. If I taste the beer and I feel that it can be amped up, I may even like it as a base. And I say, hey, let me put some bourbon in it. Let me try. Like on Rod Jay's, I did 2 shots of bourbon in the beer that I was drinking on his live podcast.
That's awesome.
I have a lot to learn. This has been
It's funny you said. I'm like, why haven't I ever thought of that before?
like it makes
Just add
so
bourbon
much
to it.
Yeah, just add a shot or 2 of bourbon. Okay, like for instance,
For 4.
so have you guys ever had Dark Lord?
Yes.
Okay, so Dark Lord is I can tell my palate has changed so much. As far as the stouts, I used to love the super sweet stouts. Now it's like I want them to be kind of mellowed out. Dark Lord is still a little bit too sweet to me, so I'll add 2 shots of bourbon, and it's freaking amazing.
This is big news.
I might just add bourbon to everything. Lager, Pilsner,
Yeah. I think,
Saison.
yeah, we should start
Farmhouse.
trying this.
Farmhouse ales. Yeah.
We could really make Spotted Cow a legit drink.
I was just about to say, add it to Spotted Cow.
Now I have one for a Spotted Cow. If you do Spotted Cow, if you do a shot of bourbon, and you do a hint like a shot of ginger beer with a twist of lime, it makes a hell of a beer cocktail.
Yeah, we're all this. You're blowing our minds here. Like,
Chad's looking at me across the table like,
Jay, give me a
what
pen.
the hell are we doing?
you got that old Spotted Cow. Maybe that'd make
Dude,
it.
that Spotted Cow is like old.
Oh,
It's
we
still
might
in my
need,
fridge.
just throw an extra shot
Might need to put a shot in there to sterilize it. Oh, what happened? Where'd she go?
Oh no!
I didn't do anything. I didn't click anything. She's disappeared.
there. All right. My last. Is this seltzer really here to stay?
Hold on. She's not even here.
Oh. What happened? We got Houdini'd.
Yeah, we got ghosted.
She'll come back.
We probably deserved that.
There she goes.
Sorry, but I don't know what happened.
Man, like, we just got ghosted live. That was crazy.
Man, I don't know. I call myself turning off my do not disturb.
All right, what was your question?
I was just circling back to what we started with on the show. Like next summer, is this hard seltzer going to last? Is this
Probably not. I think it's just another gimmick thing.
It's just a fad, right?
I mean, because it's not the first time I've heard for a logo to come and go. I think it's just a gimmick thing.
I definitely think Four Loko is a gimmick, and I'll be surprised if that lasts long on the shelves.
But everybody's like gearing up to produce their own now.
Yeah, big
I mean,
guys, little
Miller,
guys.
yeah, everybody producing a
is.
seltzer right now. It's kind of nuts. The guy at the liquor store today said, he kind of scoffed at everybody gearing up to make seltzer. He's like, yeah, go ahead, make the seltzer, It's not going to be a thing next year, and you're going to be like, shit. I put all this money into making a seltzer, and nobody wants it now.
He even went so far as to say, "Yeah, your brewer's probably in trouble."
Yeah. He's like, your brewery's in trouble if you dive in on seltzer.
Yeah.
If you're going,
Yeah, it's just some things that should not be touched. I mean, I get that breweries tend to jump on trends because, I mean, let's face it, that's the reason why we have such amazing craft beer because
Absolutely, yeah.
a lot of breweries have gone along with the trends. But some trends, it's like, don't do it.
Yeah. I don't know. I definitely, I mean, I think I have some White Claw and Truly in the garage fridge.
I bought some Henry's just to try it a few weeks ago.
No, speaking of adding stuff, could you add vodka to Truly?
Why not?
I mean, make it a little bit more,
can I add bourbon?
I mean, you can add whatever you want to. I mean,
Bourbon makes everything.
I don't think it's a. I don't think.
right there.
I don't think.
Bourbon makes everything better.
I don't think can I is.
I mean, I'm even tempted to add a shot of bourbon to this bottle I'm drinking.
Right?
It makes
Yeah.
everything off.
I had a headache and I just rubbed bourbon on my head and it was gone.
It's an essential oil, right?
It's an essential oil. It's like CBD. Ralph's asking, what would you say is the most underrated beer style?
Underrated?
Underrated.
Oh, man.
Maybe the least made a brown ale.
Yeah, they're not very common.
Nobody
especially
ever
in
makes
craft
those
beer,
anymore.
yeah.
There's some good ones.
They
too.
can be
Bridge
good.
Up does a good brown ale. 42-pound brown.
I would definitely, I can agree with that. Like, I can't, I don't know. I would say brown ale.
They're hard to get right. To have one that tastes really good.
Well, there's a reason why everybody makes an IPA, and it is obviously it's so popular, but it's hella easy.
It's
to
a
do
money
an
maker.
and there's a lot of
Yeah,
tolerance.
it's a moneymaker.
Exactly. There's a lot of tolerance in IPAs. If you don't quite get it the way you wanted it, it's still going to be good.
Yeah.
No.
Unless you're just doing like.
Rod's saying the seltzer has sold well over the last 2 years, but we know it's just repackaged Zima. They did bring Zima back.
Where's my Skittles?
Yeah, no, yeah, exactly. Skittles with Zima.
Where's my Skittles?
Yeah, I put that Skittles in Zima.
Of course, you put Skittles in vodka. It's even better.
What I'm getting out of this conversation so far is you just start mixing shit, and it's all better. That's what I'm getting.
It makes it better.
You just gotta be you gotta be. And the point is, you just gotta be inclusive. Look to the alcohol.
Talking about diversity.
You have got to, and that's why a lot of my beer. I think actually I'm going to start on my website. If you know, there's a beer I don't keep from returning to beer. I'm just posting on the website. Say, give it a shot.
Yeah,
I'm definitely going to give it a shot in everything.
of bourbon.
Yes.
A shot of bourbon.
I don't think there's enough breweries with barrel age programs making good barley wines.
I think
that's
my favorite.
I think
right
that's
there.
a little bit underrated. I think that when you find a good barley wine, because I'll go into like a Antioch Liquors type place, a good liquor store in general, and still, how many barley wines do you really have to pick from? And of
2 or 3.
those,
Yeah.
and of those, probably one of them's not good.
Yep.
Right. So
You know, my favorite barley one. Hold on, I'm going to give you guys. I'm going to show you guys. But I take it to the fridge for this.
Oh, good. I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, barley wines are definitely barrel aged barley wines to me.
yeah,
I mean, barley wine by itself is good, but barrel aged barley wine takes
barrel
two
aged barley wine.
Yeah, there's something about barley wine that I just love.
Yeah,
We all know Floyd's is good for the super hoppy beers.
yep.
But they have one called, it's the barley wine, Pillars of Beats. And this damn barley wine is so good.
Pillar of Beast.
What is it? What style?
It's a barley
This is a barley wine.
Oh, it's a barley wine.
Yeah, it's barley wine.
Yeah,
and it's a barrel barley
it
wine,
is so good. So much so, this is probably like my first time I paid $30 for this damn bottle.
We need you to ship that up here. We're gonna take some
I was
pictures.
gonna say,
we need to make- we
We'll
need to
send
do
it back. Don't
No,
worry.
just take a road trip up to
Yeah.
North Side here, and we'll share
listen,
it with us.
but
We'll meet you in Evanston. What's that? We'll meet at a Starbucks and just start pouring our beer at a Starbucks.
I'm pretty sure you can get up here in 15 minutes.
I live across the street from Evanston.
Yeah.
Oh, well, then you got to travel a little farther.
Yeah.
We'll meet you in Deerfield. How about that? That's in Lincolnshire or something.
This is so good.
Awesome. That's a great suggestion.
I will.
Yeah.
All right.
Three Floyds is another one that's on my shit list, though. So
Yeah, but I mean,
Really? Why?
they were assholes, too, when we reached out. So.
Let me tell you something. In all fairness, the Floyds, you're not going to get an interview. That's just how they roll. It's like, they're one of the ones you have to accept.
Yep.
Yeah,
But
we've been told that a few times.
Have you seen their new facility?
I saw pictures of
Their
the
distillery?
Have you been there? That big glass one?
Yes.
That's
Is it amazing?
It's sexy in there.
Yeah. It looks awesome.
When Jake's my neighbor, lives across the street. When I first moved into this neighborhood, a guy a couple houses down was all into zombie dust. And I had never even heard of zombie dust.
Gumball head.
But zombie dust was the one that you could not
yeah.
get anywhere. You had to go into the liquor store and like whisper to the owner, "Yo, you got any zombie dust?" You know, and if he had some, pull it out. He'd pull it out from under the counter and be like, "Here we go, there you go." If he liked you, he'd give you some. Now we were at Antioch Liquors today, and they had like 5 cases high full of zombie dust. They cranked up their production so much.
Well, I went to the Cubs game this summer, and you could get 16-ounce cans of Gumball head.
Yeah. Rod J, what do you all think of the craft barreled spirits? For instance, I have a bourbon barrel aged gin that is solid. Bourbon barrel aged gin.
I say send that to me. Let me try that for myself.
Yeah, we're gonna have to research that.
Yeah, for pure research purposes,
Science.
we can't speak to that. I think we should send it and let us check that out for us.
Well, I've had the Jameson cask series.
They have the
stout,
IPA one
the
and
IPA
stout
one,
one.
and those are really good. I really enjoyed those.
I don't think I've had enough to say.
Yeah.
There are some craft breweries that have branched out into craft distilling.
Yep.
Two brothers does craft distilling, and they do coffee. So yeah.
Yeah, Legit Coffee's pretty good. I have some fridge.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
What would you say? We can do the last question. What would you say is the most overrated beer?
Craft beer or?
Yeah, because we're not. You can't say Miller Lite, okay? Nobody cares.
Okay. Well, I just want to clarify here. We're not going to.
Overrated?
Yeah, that everybody's like screaming about, but you're like,
I've got 2 of them right off the top of my head.
Go for it, Chad.
KBS and CBS.
Ooh.
Oh no, you just took mine.
I'm sorry. I should let you answer first.
Which one were you going to say? Both of them? CBS, KBS?
I was gonna say BCS, the base, just the regular one.
The base BCS.
Yeah.
I still think that's solid.
I don't know.
I think it's more worth my money than I was very disappointed by KBS and CBS.
Yep.
You can still get KBS in the stores.
BCS, I felt like what was weird about BCS this year, I was having trouble finding the base, but I found the variants. But I still thought it was all quality for the price.
Rod must be giving you a birthday present, Chad, because he says something that nobody ever says.
Yeah, that's correct.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, nobody
Thanks,
ever says
Rod.
that.
Overrated.
My new buddy.
You know, something that I think is overrated is everybody that's trying to get those Pliny the Elder.
Oh yeah, there's a bottle right there behind you.
I mean, I don't think it's bad, but I just don't.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's probably Adam's. You had it out there or no?
Several times, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's something that's more about the experience of being there, not necessarily drinking a bottle, because it just tastes like
or finding it.
Yeah, the hunt for it.
Well, it's a scarcity thing. The thing with CBS and KBS was you had to go get it on launch or shortly after, otherwise you weren't going to get it that year.
Yep.
You know, and then same with Pliny the Elder. You're in California, in San Francisco area, you're going to try and go get that because you're not going to get it really many places else. So yeah. I would almost say New Glarus.
Yes.
Really?
I think Spotted
We
Cow
just
is
had this
so
conversation on our live stream last night, and I had texted Chad about this on Monday. We had a text conversation about this. Is that I don't get how New Glarus has blown up so big, only selling in the state of Wisconsin. There was a website that said they were rated 5 in the world.
Top 10.
Right? They were number 5.
They were number 5. Yeah, and out
of the top 10 breweries in the world, and they only sell in Wisconsin. So how the hell does that happen? And my other point was, there's not a beer of theirs that I can think of where I have to have that. You know what I mean? Like Revolution, Death Star, and Straight Jacket. I mean, I'm getting that. I will go. We've done it. We've gone liquor store to liquor store to liquor store to try to find those beers. But I can't think of anything in New Glarus where I'm like, I got to hunt this down and I got to have it.
Let me tell you, that's because it's about exclusivity. Basically, it's like the thrill of the chase.
Yep.
The beer may not be we may not think the beer is great, but because it's, for some people, because it's only sold in one area, it's like the thrill of, we gotta have it.
Yeah.
It's like, at one point, right, like Zombie does, at one point where you can only get it at a certain point. Like even Goose Island, the BCS, people, we stand in lines for it.
Yep.
Then when we get the base beer, it's like, we could have done without this. Just give me the prop and the other variant. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a friend a couple weeks ago. There was a aviation show up in Oshkosh, and he came up from Illinois. He bought 8 cases of spotted cow to take home. And I'm like, 8 cases?
What the hell is he doing with that much spotted cow?
Well, he's probably giving it to his friends and buddies back down in Illinois, but that's the thing. I mean, they come up there and you can only get it in Wisconsin, and when you're up there, you buy it and bring it home. It's okay. It's not great beer.
Mm-hmm.
Did you say what yours was? You said KBS, right?
I said Pliny the Elder.
Oh, you said Pliny.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably true.
I just think it's a little too. I still kind of think, as far as a cheaper for me sessionable beer, somewhat maybe underrated, but old is Yingling. I still like finding Yingling.
I like
Yingling's
Yingling.
good.
I do like Yingling.
You can get Yingling's in Indiana, right? It just hasn't come.
It hasn't come to Illinois yet.
Yeah, Yingling's.
That's an easy drinker.
So, Rod, the answer to your question for me is.
Well, read the question first.
Oh,
we are a podcast. This will go on the audio stuff.
Oh yeah, audio. Yeah. Rod asks, "I've never stood." Well, he says, "I've never stood in line for a beer." The question is, do you guys often do that? The answer for me is same as you. I've never stood in line for a beer.
I did.
Jake's done it
for about probably that first year I was super into it.
Yeah.
I did a lot of line standing, and there was one time
your CBS
where I really thought that the 2017 Canadian Breakfast Stout was fantastic, and it was the last year. You'll know it because it's the last year that they had the
Mountie
on the bottle. And one of our local craft beer stores got one case of it, so they got 12 bottles. And it's like my kid's birthday party that morning that's starting at like 11. The store opens at 9. I go get in line at like 7:30. It's like freezing rain, just good old Chicago weather.
That was a shitty day, yeah.
Shitty day.
I remember that day.
I get there, and the line, it doesn't look too bad. I'm like, I'm going to be near the back, but it's only one case, so they only got 12 bottles.
Mm-hmm.
I get in line. Well, there's fucking people that have been waiting in their cars, that people were holding their spot with a chair, and they come out. This one dude, I don't know. Anyways, I end up being number 13, and I just was fucking pissed.
You got nothing.
That is the last time I stood in line.
Now, how much have you stood in line?
I have stood in line for Black Friday for Goose Island, and then the day of Black Friday, and then we stood the following week, and they so happened to see KBS was coming out, and we were able to get a bottle. Now, I do find that year, that was 2017, that I do find that it was better on draft than it was in a bottle that year.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Well, and they've overmade their product now. I mean, you can get KBS and CBS. Right. You can get
Antioch had KBS
today, and there's a store up by me that still has 2018 CBS available.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Too bad I won't be buying it.
I know, right?
I have thought about standing in line at Revolution now that they do their release.
For their barley wines, I
I've been
would
tempted
consider it.
I really like their variants.
Chad, you came down last year to go to Revolution to stand in line, and we got a snowstorm. We're like, nah.
We were looking at their
the Twitter and Instagram. We saw everybody stand out line at Rev, freezing their asses off. And we're just like,
I'm not going. Like, it's nice and warm here. We have beer. We're fine.
But I think what you said, I think it was with Lakefront. We were doing the interview with Lakefront.
Yep.
And you said your philosophy on it is it'll come around and I'll get it at some point.
Yeah, at some point somebody will have a bottle of it, and I'll get to try it. I'm just not going
I
to worry
just came to
about
peace with
buying
the
it.
idea that even if you miss something, there's always something else coming. It's fine.
Yep.
Rod, I would agree with you. I found Highlight overrated when I finally got it. Yep, everybody, it was last year. I think I even did a
Good one.
You did a
review on it. That was one, everyone's like, oh, Highlight. And I finally got it. And I was like, really? What are we all happy about?
I still don't
Highlight
understand what goes on with the Cigar City Brewing.
Mm-hmm.
It's all contract, right?
Yep. Well,
Wow.
Cigar City is a brewery, but they contract brew for like Oscar Blues. They're doing.
You're talking about they were contract brewing. They were having that contract brewed in other places, but they brought it all back in house. I thought.
Well,
Highlight's back in house now. Yeah,
but I
they
think
were
when
brewing it.
It got real easy to get, but I don't think they were making it.
They were making it in Tampa. They were making it in Lakeland. There was one other location. I think maybe in Texas it was being made.
Oh, Texas.
So
Good old Texas.
yeah.
All right, kids. Are we done?
All right.
All right.
Well, it's 10 o'clock.
My
yeah,
glass is empty,
we
so-
always want to be respectful of our guests' time, and it's 10 o'clock. So,
Well, thank you so much,
Shalonda.
We really
Thank you
appreciate it.
guys for having me.
I do want to tell you that during this podcast I did buy you some beer. I bought a T-shirt. So, looking
I bought you some beer.
I bought you some beer.
Thank you.
Thanks for hanging with us. Thank you for talking diversity, talking beer, Chicago beer. It was awesome.
Awesome. Thank you guys.
Yeah, hang out with us here 1 second. We're gonna do the outro, and then we'll chat.
Yeah,
after.
hang out for us.
Okay.
We're the three best friends that anyone could have. We're the three best friends that anyone can have. And we're always gonna hang out.
I love your outro.